Hey, look out. It's Faith Talk Live. I'm Rick Probst.
And I'm Dan Ratcliffe.
They are back. They are legends. It's Burnt Hickory Worship team there. We've got Emma, Tyler, Janet, and Pastor Corey Amos. How you guys doing?
Good. Great.
We were just talking before Rick came on, and we were talking about how excited they are for the Christmas season. They're so excited they have a Christmas tree out in front of the church now that's all lit up and ready to go.
Yep. Cool. Just wait for the sun go down. You can have all the fun you want.
Awesome. Well, before we get into the project, I know there's a song going to be dropped. Maybe it was just dropped this month. We'll talk about that in a second. But first of all, we like to do this with our guests at Christmas. Your favorite Christmas movie? Go. Let's start with Corey.
Who's Corey?
Gary, Corey.
Christmas Vacation is top number one for me. Yeah, no doubt.
Yes.
And I would have to second that as well. It's unbeatable.
Emma, Janet.
For me, White Christmas all the way. It's just a timeless classic.
Yeah.
Yep, I agree. White Christmas. Little Bing Crosby. Yeah.
All right. So Carrie and Tyler, favorite Uncle Eddie line from Christmas Vacation.
This is a Christian radio show, Dan. you cannot ask questions like that. That is not our audience.
It's the gift that gives all year, Clark.
Yeah.
No, so I think the one I say throughout the years, something real nice.
That's funny.
You know, I'm really surprised that Elf didn't come up. Usually it's Elf or Die Hard.
What?
Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
Yes. It is.
Yeah. So Elf is number 2 probably for me, but right before you hopped on, Rick, we were debating that Die Hard is a Christmas movie. I wholeheartedly agree. But any movie that has Alan Rickman is definitely worth watching. So.
Yes, it is. Love Alan Rickman.
Yeah, good point. Well, thanks, guys, for hanging with us. It's been, I can't remember, I think we talked to you a couple of months ago. What's been the response of the worship album so far?
Dozens of people really like it.
And this is why we love having these guys on.
Yeah, I called my mom the other night. She's like, well, I'm playing it on repeat. Is that what I'm supposed to do?
Jumping up our numbers. We've had a good response. We've been surprised, and even in like Singapore, people are listening to some of the releases. So that's exciting for us to just get the music out. That was our goal, is to get it out so people across the world could worship, and that's happening. So that's awesome.
That's awesome.
Singapore, wow, that's big time.
I know.
So what do you guys have planned for Christmas? Obviously, you're going to be doing Christmas Eve services. Tell us what you got lined up for that.
Yeah, we're doing one, possibly more than that on the 23rd. So the Eve, we're still having to do social distance and kind of limited capacity, just like everybody else. But we really are really looking forward to it. And then we're doing 4 or even 5, I can't remember, 4 or 5 services on Christmas Eve day, starting at 1:00 and going throughout maybe 5:30 or something like that. So it's fun. Christmas, I get real sentimental, and I know they were mentioning Bing Crosby, a lot of music. As far as the way we kind of worship, I really like to make things intimate. Kind of grew up sitting around a piano in my grandma's house playing songs, and that's kind of how we still do it around Christmas Eve. We'll pull everything real tight together, and just kind of make it feel a little more jazzy. Tyler and I are both from Louisiana. I love that kind of jazzier and a little more intimate feel around Christmas. So we're going to do some of that. Last year we wore sweaters and it was 75 degrees. So I'm not sure we're going to wear sweaters again this year, because you never really can tell. But it's supposed to be intimate. It's supposed to be really family oriented and kind of familiar, and just kind of give you that warm feel of family. And a lot of people are missing that right now. Everything about this year's been weird. A lot of people have been alone. I mean, I know people that have just been really struggling with their real reality of loneliness. Mm-hmm. And I think that people are looking for something familiar, something that reminds them of the warmth of this season. And it's not just cookies and hot chocolate and familiar songs, but that the warmth comes from the love of Jesus, and all the other stuff is just icing on the cake. And we're gonna have a lot of fun doing it. We're gonna live stream all the stuff because there's still a lot of people that cannot get out and all that stuff. So we're looking forward to doing all that.
Awesome. Burnt Hickory Worship. We're talking with Pastor Carey, Emma, Tyler, and Janet. All right. So did the latest single drop already, or is it coming up?
So we had Radiance dropped in November,
Right.
and then Miracle at Hand drops January 1, and the album comes out January 12th.
Oh, okay. So you're kind of pausing there for December. That's probably wisdom. But awesome. So then the one that was dropped in November, what have you heard about that one? Janet?
We've had a great response to that. Again, we've got statistics that's gone around the world in several other countries, and a lot around here, obviously, some in Louisiana, since we've got some boys from there that created this song. So it's been good.
Yeah, I mean, and for us, we were singing songs that were happening here a lot of times every Sunday, but people didn't have a way to have that. And so our church has been really, really supportive, really excited about sharing that. And again, we used so many people. We used our student choir, we used our adult worship choir. So there's so many ages across the thing that you get to see, and so many different people. You have 75-year-olds singing next to 15-year-olds, and that's a really beautiful and unique thing about our church. And it rallied a lot of people together. It's not just kind of one age group or one look or one feel. It's everybody joins together. And that's the beautiful thing about our church. When they do something, and they do it all in. And Radiance really captured that. And when you get to watch it on YouTube and see what God has done with that. And when we recorded it, we didn't know that we were literally walking into a pandemic where we wouldn't get to do that for a while. It's really beautiful for us to see that and be reminded of what God has done throughout this year, even though we all kind of had to crawl into our holes. And even us, we're not meeting together right now, but God is still on the move. He's still doing something amazing. And he sends us down into the valleys sometimes, because that's where all the richness is. That's where all the sediment is. That's where all the nutrients is. And he brings us out of that valley when that time is right. And he uses us to bless the world and to tell the world about who he is. And that's the beautiful thing about the radiance of God.
Now, as you were talking about Christmas Eve, you said you got 5 services Christmas Eve. How are you still having a voice by the end of the night? Or are you not having a voice and letting somebody else sing?
No, it's I mean, there's several of us that are singing. I definitely don't do all of that. It's I sing once or twice a service, kind of thing. But I love it. It's just like a diesel engine. Once you take care of your voice and you do it right, it'll heat up and go. I don't like to stop. Once we get going, I just like to keep going. Yeah. And you drink lots of water. Make sure you've got Janet always keeps us supplied with lots of cough drops. If my mouth gets dry all the time, so I'm just she knows how to take care of us, and lots of warm tea. If people have to talk all the time or sing all the time, you got to drink some warm tea, otherwise you're going to lose your voice. We're coffee fanatics, but coffee will dehydrate you pretty quick, so you have to trade your love for coffee for your love for tea. And you guys know that. You're on radio. Your voice is smooth as butter. Yes.
But we still drink coffee anyway,
Yeah, we just put butter in it. It makes us real smooth. Burnt Hickory Worship. We love their stuff. The next single coming out in January. And remind us where they can get the project. Probably on your website, right?
Yes, you can get it at burnthickoryworship.com. You can get it anywhere you stream music. We also have a YouTube channel, so we have music videos along with the songs there. Mm-hmm.
And as Carrie mentioned, that you can stream the services that are going on for Christmas if by chance, well, even if you have a chance to go to your own church, check out theirs as well. I'd like to ask you this question one at a time. Let's say a few years from now, 2022, 21, 23, whatever, you'll look back at 2020 and your first thought will be what, Janet?
Oh, gosh. How did we survive? I never predicted anything that they were telling me we were going to be out of the office for months. It's like, you're nuts, but it really happened. And we've survived and we've really thrived here. We've got lots of people that are watching from home. We've got an expanded reach that we never imagined. A lot of times you you want to put God in a box and say, this is all you can do and this is where we live. And he says, no, I've got bigger plans. So even though I've canceled some things that you thought were going to happen, I've made something bigger happen. So that's what I'm going to think about, is how God changed my perspective on his will and his ways.
That's good. Tyler, what about you?
See, my brain goes towards like in 2012, everyone thought the world was going to end, and there was a movie about it. So it was always this joke that like, oh, I'm going to tell my kids, oh yeah, I lived through that. So I feel like it's going to be a movie that comes out about 2020 and get to tell everyone, yeah, hey, we lived through, all of the mess that happened, and whatever. That's where my brain goes. But
Yeah,
no, I'm kind of in the same vein with Janet. Looking back at 2020, just seeing all of the things, all of the ways we were stretched, and as much as I hate hearing this word now, pivot and change the way the way that we do ministry throughout the year, and just seeing the people that the people that are on this call, the people that we get to work with day to day, grow and then push themselves and push their boundaries to new. Stretch it out to new heights and widths to see, to push people to see and do things that they've never done before is really, really cool. So yeah.
Good. Emma, what about you?
I think for me, it's more of like, what am I learning this year was the refinement of my worship and kind of getting back to what does worship mean in a sense. Like we hear all the time in scripture, like true worshipers. John 4, Jesus is talking about to the woman at the well, saying, true worshipers, you will worship in spirit and in truth. And I think a lot of times nowadays, we think of worship as just a song we sing on a Sunday or a song we hear by our favorite group, by our favorite band. But I think that it's so much more. And a lot of times true worshipers are tested by, even if all of this is taken away, what is your worship? Because every person has an altar in their heart. And I think that this year is kind of tested, like, okay, what's on your altar? What are you worshiping? Is it what you do? Is it who you are? Is it what you're involved in? Is it your accolades or your titles? And I think a lot of those things have kind of been stripped away this year. And so I think for me, this year has just been kind of getting back to the purity of falling in love with worshiping God for his character and who he is, and not for what he does for us.
That's good. Batting cleanup, Carrie.
This year's been hard for a lot of people. And so I'm aware of what I'm about to say is going to be in contrast to that, because we've, working in a church and being in the community, you sense that. My wife's a nurse and she sees heartache and sickness, and we've lost people that we love. This year's been tough. But I will say, for me personally, it has been one of the most treasured years I've probably ever had. The day that the world shut down, at least for us right here in the Georgia area, was March 13th. That was the day my family and I moved into a new house, and it was exciting. We were just so pumped about what everything was going to look like, and then the world shut down. And so we moved in a new place. We huddled together, and we just grew closer as a family. Everybody was vacated from the building except for a few of us, probably in our worship staff, and we were doing in production, and we were working on this album. So in this year, I grew closer with my family than I'd ever been. I grew close with my kids as they were doing virtual stuff through the spring, and just got to see them and know them, watch them grow up in a really unique way that would never have happened. I got to work really closely with our team as we were working on this project and other things that we would not have had the intention that we put on things unless that had happened. There's so much. Now we have so much closer bonds than we ever would have if it had not been for this. We know people and their families now because we walked with them through a season of difficulty in a way that we never had. That was sweet and treasured time. And it was hard. I didn't see my parents or my wife's parents for quite a long time. It was really, really hard. So you begin to appreciate the things you do. You learn to use FaceTime more. But there's such a sweetness from this. And I'll remember the year that we grew closer as a family, grew closer as a team, and that we made something that we were really ignorant about doing this project, that we did it together, and we didn't know how to do it. And my heart is really thankful.
Yeah.
All right, real quick before we got to take a break here, but Carrie, I'm curious, what are you getting Tyler for Christmas this year? And I can mute him so he can't hear you, but what are you getting him for Christmas this year?
It's been back and forth a few things. He's always been good about getting me things that I like.
Yeah.
But I wanted to get him. I wanted to get him a Falcon shirt.
Okay.
Because we're Saints fans, but I couldn't even bring myself to buy it. I really couldn't. We like to buy stuff where people cook things, but Tyler's a better cook than I am, even so. We're still on the fence.
All right, Tyler, what are you getting for Carrie?
I can't tell him now. It's a bit of a surprise. So
It's that Bob Ross chia head, isn't it?
yeah.
Happy trees.
Yes.
That's funny.
Love it.
Love it. Burnt Hickory Worship. We love these guys. Check it out. BurntHickoryMusic.com. And it's Carrie, Emma, Tyler, and Janet. Merry Christmas, guys. We love you. Hope to talk to you after the first of the year. We got to take a break. We'll be right back. I'm Rick Probst.
And I'm Dan Ratcliffe.
This is Faith Talk Live.